Crandall pushing hard, spins it in off the glass. Wow, Whitey again for three. Oh, what a shot with the boat closing out. Oh my goodness, going coast to coast.
We're live from the Morningside Arena in Leicester as the Riders, in touching distance of the title, square off against the Rocks. A thrilling finish to the regular season then, and it's not just the title to be decided, the playoffs rolling into view thick and fast as well. Good to have you with us. Two great guests alongside me, London Lions head coach Vince McCauley and BBL legend Kieran Achara. Great to see you both. The Lions, of course, are the team making this competitive, making it interesting. What are you saying to the players? What have you been saying to them over the last couple of weeks during the run-in, Vince?
Hey, the main thing is, listen, we've given a few games away earlier in the season. We knew that was going to come back and bite us in the backside. We just wanted to put a run together. I think we've won 9 or 10 in a row now. We don't want to lose another game. We just thought certainly we couldn't let Leicester win it in London. Born
entertainers, that's what you are. We thought this was a formality 4 weeks ago. Leicester have dropped 3 of the last 6. It's suddenly game on.
Yeah, definitely. You know, Prince is actually spoiling our show. You know, we thought the Leicester Riders would be crowned champions tonight, but yeah, I just feel that it's such a competitive league. You know, London are hitting form. You know, Newcastle are a really strong team. It's not going to be easy for Leicester to finish this up.
Riders feeling the pressure a little bit, do you think?
Yes, but at the same time, like I said, it's such a competitive league that the games they've lost, it was one of those things that could definitely have happened.
Yeah, look at that context of that run-in as well. Well, the top 7, if we look at the league table, have guaranteed their playoff spots. But at the very top, Leicester 4 points clear of London. They've played a game more. So either way, the Riders control their own destiny. They've got 2 games left to play, including tonight. If they win both, well, there's nothing that Vince and the Lions can do. The Lions have 3 games remaining. If Leicester drop 1 or both of their remaining matches, then things get really interesting, not least because London have the head-to-head tiebreakers. So if the 2 teams finish level on points, London will be champs. Other than tonight's game against the Rocks, the Riders have the dangerous Cheshire Phoenix to close the regular season. London will play Glasgow and Manchester, the bottom 2 right now in the BBL, before closing their season against the Sheffield Sharks. They've already secured a playoff berth. So the fact this is still a 2-horse race is down to the Lions' midweek win over the Riders at the Copper Box. Another thriller, Kieran. Momentum in this one, swinging backwards and forwards all game long.
It was an exceptional game, and it epitomises the league. You know, I talk about competition. You know, when London Lions are laser focused, they're unstoppable. But at the same time, there's so much bite from the other teams in the league. It's always going to be a competitive. So there's no taken for granted any single situation. It's always going to be a competitive game.
Talk about the third quarter, Vince, because that's where the game really changed. He kept the Riders in check so effectively in that quarter.
Well, you know, the Riders always like to push. Coach Paternostro likes to push in that third quarter, see if he can put the game to bed. We knew that, and we wanted to do that. We wanted to express ourselves. You know, we know we lead the league in points. We also concede the second fewest field goal percentage, so we can play defense when we put our minds to it.
Well, the Riders put a run together in the fourth to challenge that position, but then Dirk Williams had a run of his own as well. He was absolutely clutch, wasn't he?
You know, Dirk Williams is sensational. He's got ice water in his veins. He knows what to do with the ball. He doesn't care. He doesn't need a second to release that shot, and he was just fire everywhere.
What was the mood like in the locker room after the win?
Very positive, but, you know, we know that the Riders are in the driving seat. You know, we can't do anything about that. We just got to win every game we have to play, and that's how we've been able to put that run together.
Is that quite liberating, considering the pressure the Lions have been under for much of the season now, without the expectation? Is that quite enjoyable to play under?
Well, you could say so, except I keep playing those games back in my mind that we lost and knowing that we shouldn't have lost those games.
Okay, Rob Paternostro, the Leicester Riders head coach, delighted to say, joins us now for a pre-game
I hear
chat.
That laugh.
Good to see you, Coach.
Who's that guy laugh?
All those months ago, Coach, in pre-season, if someone had said to you, with 2 games to play, the title will be in your control, you'd have grabbed that with both hands, wouldn't you?
Oh, yeah, of course. Every year you get an opportunity to win the title, you take it, and that's all you can ask for, is to be in the position, and we are in the position. We have the best record in the league. We have 2 games to go, so these are the games that you want to be in. I told the guys this week, I said, as a 48-year-old has-been basketball player, these are the games I dream of playing in. So make sure you grab it by both hands, enjoy it, and come out firing.
We figured the run-in was going to be challenging with Newcastle, London, Plymouth as well. What is the mood in the camp right now? You're feeling the pressure a little bit after back-to-back defeats.
Well, I mean, listen, we knew, like you said, we knew that we had a tough schedule coming in, and we also knew that London is the kind of team that was going to go on a run. We felt like they were going to win a lot of games. They've done a great job, too. You know, you look at it, they've just won and won and won. I mean, I guess there's pressure. There's always pressure in basketball, but we have a lot of guys that have been there and done that, have great careers behind them, won big games. So this is what it's all about. Like I said to him, you got to enjoy this stuff. If you don't enjoy it, then you shouldn't be here.
Well, you dug it against Newcastle when the game was running away from you last week. Same with London, of course, on Wednesday night. So the result's obviously not what you wanted, Coach, but that response in the face of adversity, that's key, isn't it?
Yeah, expect that, though. You know, you expect that. I think we have a group that doesn't quit, that will fight to the end. I think we got to do a better job making some shots. You know, over the last 5 games or so, we struggled to make the shots that we've gotten. And I think that, sometimes you go through those streaks, but hopefully now we're going to go through a streak where we're making a lot of those.
There's a 36-point gap between you and the Rocks in the table. So give us an insight into what you're saying to the players ahead of a game like this when you're expected to win comfortably, but then there's so much on the line.
Well, it's pretty easy for me. First of all, they beat Plymouth this year at Plymouth, without their Americans, I believe. And then last week against Newcastle, they should have won the game. They had them. The Newcastle team that had beaten us on Friday, Glasgow had them. So we've seen them before play well, and I think with them, they really have nothing to lose, right? And their Americans are gone, and these guys are getting a lot of minutes, so they'll be playing free and easy. And I don't think there's anyone on our team that is underestimating them tonight.
Coach, go well tonight.
Thanks.
We've got to look at the context here because it has been a tough run, and with the Raiders, the Eagles and the Lions in the last 5 games. What have you made of their performances in those games? Not so much the results, Kieran, but the way they've played.
So for Lions, for me, I think that they're laser focused right now. Vince, great job. But from a Leicester perspective, I look at the way they're playing. The pressure is there. You know, they go in spells that they're dominating the game, and then all of a sudden it's like something goes against them. It becomes really difficult. And then, as Rob said, they're missing shots. It's not as easy when the shots are not dropping.
It's surprising as well when you look at the roster and you look at some of the players on this roster, veterans who know the league backwards, Vince, winners, players who can change the game in a flash. But of course, they all understand what Rob Paternostro wants from them.
Listen, Coach Paternostro is quite clear with the guys. This is a great opportunity. And of course, he's got veterans in there, Jamal Anderson, Connor Washington, those kind of guys. They know how to win for Leicester. So it's about the other guys who maybe this is their first chance to win a title. And I think the situation is also all about timing. They lost Gino Crandall at a really poor time for them. And that meant the team had to change. Then he came back, and now the team's got to change again. Very difficult at this stage. Coach is managing them very well because they fought back in the last 3 games very hard.
Well, there's Gino Crandall on screen. Many would suggest he has been the BBL's very best this season, a front runner for MVP. Their floor general, he's been in blistering form from the word go.
Crandall driving it. Oh, he explodes to the hole and jams it in.
He's got to be one of the best guys in the league.
Crandall down the lane and hammers it in.
I would say it's been a good season. You know, I think we were knocking on the door of being able to play in some of those title games, you know, for the cup and for the trophy. Obviously, things just didn't go our way, but we can't hang our heads too much on that. Because I think if you look at overall, you know, in all the competition, all the games we played, we've gotten better. You know, from where we are today is an entirely different team than where we were, you know, to start the season off in September.
Oh, that is beautiful from Gino Crandall, splitting the defense and throwing it down.
I think as a competitor, you always want to do better. You know, you always look at the shots you've missed or the turnovers you've had or, you know, when you got scored on here or there, or if you've had a bad game. That's the standard I want to hold myself to is, am I doing everything in my power just to help out and be a positive, you know, factor on the team.
2 potential highlight plays of the week in 1 game. A superstar.
Definitely happy and humbled to be considered for an MVP. I like to think of myself as a guy who just comes out and does what the team needs, you know, any night. And I guess in terms of like being the most valuable player, that's a valuable thing. I think the injury would definitely put a little bit of a hiccup in what we were doing as a team. It kind of had, you know, a negative effect on my mindset a little bit. I try to be positive about everything, but I think we persevered through it, you know, incredibly. I think a lot of guys stepped up and played a lot of good basketball in the couple weeks that I was out. When you lose, I think it's such a big part part of what we do offensively, and that's not a knock on any of the guys. That's just kind of the way our system has grown throughout the years, that the ball's in my hands a lot of the times. I'm making a lot of the decisions. It was an adjustment for everybody, and honestly, I think a lot of teams around the league, probably if they lose their top guy, I don't think they would have been in as good a situation as we were in, and that's a credit, to everybody we've got on the team, that just, if a guy goes down, we just kind of keep pushing. Playing with the Riders is always kind of a next man up mentality. I don't think we have any players, or even Rob himself as a coach who's been here and been successful, that, center themselves and think everything revolves around them. I think it's a real team effort every night. It's kind of just like a machine, there's just all these parts, and you find a way to fit them in perfectly almost, and things just keep rolling and keep rolling. We lose a game, nobody gets down, you just keep rolling. We win by 20, okay, who cares? Next one up, keep rolling. Because they know in the end that any team success we have is going to triumph any individual success.
Stolen away by Crandall. He's all on his own, and he will jam it in.
I've enjoyed my time here for sure. I think I've grown as a basketball player and as a person, just going through everything that we've all gone through this year. Building relationships with the guys on this team and the guys in the club has been amazing.
Nice pass. Jackson off the glass, off the assist from Crandall.
In terms of how important the playoff title is, I think that it's definitely really important to a lot of guys. I mean, obviously, anytime you're in position to win a trophy, you want to win a trophy. So you got to bring your best. And I think that's also an attitude that guys are going to have when that time comes, is that, it's the playoffs, everybody's going to bring their best game. Everybody's going to want to win. But winning the championship would be everything. It's what you play basketball for. I don't think anybody signs up to lose. Every game you go in, you're wanting to win. And winning those championships means that you won a lot. You will play it at a high level for the entire season, and just kind of the fruits of your labor paying off. So I think winning the championship at this point is really all that matters.
Vince, as an opposing coach, looking on, how have you viewed Crandall's body of work this season?
Oh, it's been excellent. I mean, this is a guy who's come into his first time here, into what is a very, very tough league. Before we added the extra foreign players here, and now he's found himself at one of the best clubs in terms of winning trophies, and been asked to, drive the bus. And he's done it exceptionally well, and been humble about it, especially in relation to his teammates.
The no-look passes, all the crazy handles we see, but there's a lot of discipline underneath all the highlight reel stuff, isn't there?
Oh, no, absolutely. I mean, not only that, there's a lot of intelligence. I mean, I was fortunate to follow him on social media when he was breaking down some of the Gonzaga stuff in the March Madness. It just showed you that this is an intelligent player.
William Lee, another key player on this Riders side, shoots over 60%. That places him in the top 3 in the BBL. Hugely influential at the other end of the court as well. Key part of this side.
Yeah, and I think he's just coming into his own right now. I think we're still to see the best of him, and hopefully for Leicester it's going to be in the playoffs. But yeah, he's a very efficient player. Does all the dirty work as well. They missed him for a couple of games, and sometimes it's when the players are missing that you really, really understand how much they are a key part of this team, and William Lee is definitely one of them.
I was going to say, for us, he's our toughest cover. I mean, he had 25 points and 11 rebounds, missed 2 shots in the whole game. This is a guy with the length, the ability to fly up through the air, and his shooting ability is so underrated. I mean, for us, he's the most difficult cover on this team.
And that is high praise indeed when you look at who's around him. All right then, the Leicester Riders getting set. Remember, they need to win back-to-back games. That starts tonight. Friday night basketball, Rocks Riders is our live game. Leicester need to win tonight and on Sunday against Cheshire, and they will be BBL champions. The playoff race really heating up as well as the title race. Every team bar the Rocks in contention. Just the top 8 make it. The top 7 have guaranteed the spots. London with 3 games to play could go up or down depending on other results. Plymouth, Newcastle, Sheffield, Cheshire and Worcester all set. So it's the 8th and final spot that is wide open. Bristol, Surrey and Manchester all on 20 points, all have a shot. Number of those teams in action tonight, including Worcester, who play the Eagles. That tips off at 7 o'clock. Surrey and Bristol also in action. That one's into the third. Sheffield into the third quarter there. Keenly poised as well. Surrey 2 points clear there. Bristol, Plymouth, that's a 7:30 tip like our game. Right, let's take a closer look at some of the major playoff contenders then. Outside of Leicester, we'll start with Vince's London Lions. Already, of course, have silverware in the bag. Involved, as we've talked about, in the title race. A lot of games in quick succession. Vince, I guess if you go on to win, then morale will be high. But if you don't, is that a bit of a negative going into the playoffs?
No, I think at the end of the day, I think you just want to win everything. That's how our mentality is right now with our guys. You know, we've played every single game. You know that. You know, we've played in Europe 6 games. We've played every game in the BBL Cup. We've played every game in the BBL Trophy. We've played every game in the
It's a long season.
So, you know, we just want to win. You just really want to win.
It was a team that was built to win it all.
Yes.
COVID played its part, of course, with the Cup final, with the Euro campaign. If you end this season with 2 pieces of silverware, the trophy and the playoffs, will you view that as a success?
It has to be a success. I believe that every team that's completed the season has had a success this season, because this has been as challenging a season as I've seen, and I've been around a long time, hence the grey hair. But you know, I think anyone that looks at this and says, well, the British Basketball League, who's not that rated in Europe, actually played all their games, finished all their season, had an unbelievable competitive year, and you could have 4 different teams win every title. So what?
Yeah, well, Newcastle, another team that have won some silverware as well, Cup winners against the Lions. They're going to be a dangerous prospect. Kieran, how key was that win over Leicester in terms of their mindset right now?
I think it was crucial. I think it was one of those things for them. It was saying that we know who we are, and that just kind of showed that, magnified that. So I think it was crucial for them. But the thing for me with Newcastle is, like, I literally do not know what team's going to show up. You know, they had a great game against Leicester, then really struggled against the Glasgow Rocks. It's one of those things that they have the capabilities, but at the same time they have to show it consistently.
Plymouth have been, since February anyway, the form side in the BBL. Very tough defensively. A lot of playmakers there as well. They've got to be taken seriously, but they're going to be short-handed, Kieran, going into the playoffs.
Yeah, I was actually gutted to hear that, because for me, Plymouth were that team that was really built for the playoffs. I think defensively really strong, really physical and deep. Losing eBay and Ubiaro is a big loss for them. But, you know, like I said, they played without eBay this season. I think Ubiaro was one of the glue players for them. So I'm really looking forward to see how they get on.
Ashley Hamilton, we just saw at the end there, he's been one of the players of the season as well, which is great for the rate. It's great for British basketball as well.
No, terrific. Ash is a great guy. Not only is he a great player on the floor, he's really important to a lot of the British players who look up to him in terms of what he does. And I think he's relishing being back in England for the 2nd year.
Sheffield Sharks, we've got to get them in because Mike Tuck won't speak to us again if we don't. A young team, maybe the most enigmatic in the league as well. On their day, they can go toe-to-toe with any of the top 4.
Well, you know, Kieran said you don't know what Newcastle Eagles team is going to show up. You don't know what Sheffield team is going to show up, because, you know, Lillard and Emsley and all those guys, they're terrific players, really offensive-minded, you know. I think if the bigs can connect with them, you know, Koch and Tuck, etc., then they become a really dangerous team in the playoffs.
What about the others in the mix? Cheshire, another side, of course, dangerous on their day. In Coron Ross as well, another MVP candidate.
When you have a backcourt like, you know, Ross and McCall, and then you've got, you know, Kyle Carey's now came back, he's playing at a high level. You've got NBA in there. Cheshire are also a dangerous team, and again, talking about from a league perspective, there's not been an easy game this season. It's not one of those you look at the roster and you say, right, this is going to be it's going to be a pushover. There's so many competitive teams in this league.
Listen, Jimbo Lowe. Remember the first game he played was live on Sky, right? Look at that numbers that he produced, unbelievable. And this is a guy, if he does that again, he's going to cause trouble for anyone.
Likes playing in prime time. The playoff action begins in May, of course. All the games will be live on the Sky Sports YouTube channel. We'll have both semi-finals and the men's and women's final right here live on Sky Sports TV. But back to our game tonight. You got a feel for Gareth Murray, the Rocks player coach, because he lost his 2 best players midway through the season. Keeling and Delph, who arrived late anyway, which I guess, Vince, killed any chance of a playoff run.
Really disappointing, because these were really good guys, you know, both Keeling and the big fella Delph. I mean, and they were beginning to come into their own. Delph was the problem. He could stretch it out to the 3-point line. He was 7 foot tall, blah, blah, blah. And he was helping some of these younger guys develop. Really sad for Coach Murray. But really, I guess it's all about what Coach Murray wants to get out of those remaining games.
All right, well, let's find out, because he's joining us now. Coach, thanks for taking time. You've made a call, first things first, about the run-in for the season in terms of your playing time. Tell us more.
Yeah, I decided not to play the last couple of games, more for the development of the other guys that didn't maybe play as much during the season. It's important for them to get plenty of minutes and experience, whether it's under me next year or whether it's for the future for them somewhere else. But I've taken this decision right now to just coach, just to be on the sidelines and help these guys, and also help myself. It's about experience on the sideline as well for me.
Well, now you've had most of the season in the bag. How hard has that balance been as player coach on the floor versus coaching from the sidelines?
Yeah, it's a lot easier, obviously, from the sidelines. You can see everything that's going on. You can see, you can make reads, you can make changes. It's easier to get guys in. I got Fergus Harton last week against Newcastle, who got some good minutes. During the season, when I was playing, it was difficult for me to make those decisions.
It's been a long and challenging season, but you knew it would be. We spoke to you very early on in our coverage, and you said exactly that, but there's a lot to be optimistic about as well. What are the main positives that you've taken from this year?
Definitely. We talked about being difficult. It was always going to be that way. The positives, I think the guys have stuck together. They've been playing good basketball. We've played against some very good teams this year, and we've been unlucky in some of our losses, but I think the guys have stuck together throughout the adversity of obviously losing games is always very mentally challenging, but I think the guys have stuck together and have played well. They played some good basketball, but sometimes it's just not enough to win those games that you really need.
Go well tonight, Coach.
Thank you very much.
Reminder, of course, with Kieran's ties to the Glasgow Rocks and Vince's vested interest in Leicester losing, both of you got to try and remain neutral tonight. We've got to make that clear. Let's look at some of the key players then for Glasgow that are left after Keeling and Delph moved on. Johnny Bunyan is the skipper in his 10th straight season as a Glasgow Rock. He's capable of dominating a game, but how tough is his job going to be tonight against one of the most organised defences in the BBL?
You know, I love this guy, you know, because first of all, he's a vet. You know, he's still a young lad, but he's a vet. Now, the thing is, it won't matter to him whether it's Gino Crandall chasing him or Connor Washington or whomever else. He plays a very steady game. He knows what he can do. He never tries to do anything he can't do. If he's open, he's going to shoot it. Otherwise, he's happy to set his teammates up.
And he's exactly the kind of player right now that Gareth is looking to lean on to step up.
Yeah, very much so. And he's been shooting the three-point ball with a lot more confidence the last few games. But the big thing about Johnny is his ability to be a leader. You know, he really brings the guys together, makes sure he's very even-keeled. And then that really, really helps the team, especially with a younger team that they have. Here's
Boban Jack Domney, impressed this year. Is he the kind of player that Gareth will be looking at as a foundational piece going forwards?
You know what? I'm looking at Boban. I have no idea what his future is, but I know it's going to be a bright one. You know, he's a hard worker, good size, got a willingness to be better. I think with that ability, I don't even know if he's going to be in the BBL next year. I hope he is here, but at the same time, like he has a lot of ability.
What have you made of his season, Coach?
Oh, sensation. This is a kid from Newham Youngblood, so shout out to Caroline Charles. Also a college with Sean Jameson. He's a hard worker. He's foul trouble that he had earlier in the season he's dealt with. I think this is a guy who's going to really make a huge impact in the next 3, 4, 5 years in the BBL.
Let's talk about the situation for Gareth Murray then, because he's been amongst the most productive players on court for them. But as he said to us just now, he wants to use this time to hone his coaching. Do you think it's sustainable, Vince, to be a player coach in the BBL in 2021?
I have to say I don't think so. I think, first of all, the two brightest names that come to mind, Atiba Lyons and Fabulous Flournoy. For Atiba Lyons, he gave it a shot, he gave it a good shot, and thought, no, that's not for me. Fab somehow found a way to do it with the help he got from Dave Forrester and having a Charles Smith on his roster. For Gareth, he hasn't got that. They're missing a very, very good GB international on the floor. I think he's got to make a decision. If he's decided that playing is no longer for him, then I understand that, and then he has to coach. But otherwise, they probably have to find someone to get him on the floor.
It's a tough call for him because individually, of course, Eurobasket next year, as Vince said, he's in the Team GB setup, and Kieran, he's been prolific for them. He's played a lot of minutes this season.
See, when you can shoot the ball like Gareth, you can always find a spot in the roster. When you've got high IQ as well, you can be very efficient with your movement. You know, you don't have to be the super athlete he used to be. You know, you can pick his spots. But, you know, I feel for Gareth. You know, I'm looking at him as a coach right now, and I see some of the in-game adjustments he's been making. It's been great to watch, but at the same time, he's still going to be a player coach. He needs to play and he needs to coach.
How key is a solid start for the Rocks tonight if their plan is to stifle the Riders? Because that's what they're going to play on, isn't it? Those nerves, that pressure, and try and make it tricky for them early doors.
You know, first thing, to the credit of Gareth, this team never gives up. It doesn't matter what the score is, they're not going to give up. So I think that's something that they have taken away positive from this season. So it's not going to matter how the start goes for them. As long as they stay within what he wants them to do, they'll keep playing the same way to the 40th minute.
If we look at the team head-to-head, obviously there are significant discrepancies here. But even when they had Keeling and they had more depth, offense has been a big problem for the Rocks. With this collection of players, what do they need more of Kieran, to improve that?
They've got the offense, they just need to make shots. You know, I honestly believe the last few games they've been hitting shots, shooting with confidence. Before they were getting the looks, they just weren't executing. So that's the biggest difference from them, just be able to shoot the ball with confidence, make shots.
Look at the team leaders, and it's interesting because however prolific Gino Crandall has been, they don't have big scorers compared to, say, Ramon Fletcher or Dirk Williams. It's the same with three-point shooting. You've got 3 Lions players in the top 10 in terms of three-point shooting percentage. This Leicester offense is built differently, isn't it?
Well, and that's how every team is built, all different. It all depends on what your coach likes to play, and also depends on what players and tools that you have to get the job done. And Coach Paternoster has always been about his defense. He likes that big man in the middle. He likes that guard that controls things, and that's why you'll always have a situation where they like to keep the game lower scoring. Conversely, if you look, not conversely, but alongside, if you look at Glasgow, their points are low, but not because they can't score, it's just because they like to run long offenses, similar to, say, Worcester Wolves.
Okay, interesting. The game is almost set to get going then. There is a lot riding on it for Leicester. The title is in their grasp, but they've got to take care of business tonight. Tip-off is next.
3 days to go, all right? 2 games, 3 days, all right? Let's just give everything, all right? Just like Julie said, stick together out there. It's going to be a tough night, all right? But let's just play just like we've been doing. Let's go. Let's go, Ross on 3, 1, 2, 3, rock.
Welcome back to Leicester. We're almost set for tip-off, so time to hand over to our commentary team. As ever, Andro is alongside Dan Rowledge.
Thank you very much, Nat. Let's get into the game and let's have a look at the starting fives for tonight's game and a change in the starting lineup for the
I'm sure Gino Crandall growing strength in strength every game back from his injury.
And if we have a look at the Rocks lineup, whenever we talk about Leicester, we talk about the strength and depth they have at the centre spot. Therefore, a lot of pressure on Jack Domney in the middle here tonight.
Yeah, but Jack Domney, we've seen him score against the best inside defenders in the league. He's a very capable, very talented young man. But what you have got as well in this Rocks team is you've got very, very good shooters in Bunyan and Malcolm as well on the perimeters, waiting to just shoot that ball. And what you've got is a five that are fearless and playing with great energy.
Well, the two teams out and ready ahead of tonight's game, and we've seen again this week why the players and clubs continue to highlight the issues of racism and inequality in society. I would point you in the direction of the Sky Sports website, where Gino Crandall talked about his work in Minneapolis. He is a Minneapolis native after the death of George Floyd last year, and how that verdict impacted on him. A fascinating read as we get underway, as the Leicester Riders look to get the first of the 2 wins they need to claim the league title. Down to Nelson Henry. Here is Crandall. He's going to take the 3 up top off the back of the iron, and the rebound with Johnny Bunyan. Bunyan for triple, and off the mark. Both teams come up with a blank here. Crandall lobs it in. We've seen that all season long, the pick and roll with Nelson Henry on the end of it.
Perfectly executed there. Great weighted pass from Crandall, and Nelson Henry keeps it nice and high, 6'10", and a soft finish from him.
Well, we've been joined in the commentary booth by Vince McCauley. Seen a lot of that pick and roll. It's very effective no matter what teams try and throw at it.
I'm sick and tired of seeing that pick and roll. I have to tell you that, Daniel. Thank you for having me here with you. This is going to be a fun game to watch.
Well, you know what Anderson will give you at that end of the floor, one of the best defensive players in the league because of his versatility. From week to week, you never know whether he's guarding the point guard, the 4-man, it can be anybody. His Heron in the corner, his 3 is halfway down and back out again.
Well, we saw the pick and roll before, but then we saw Crandall come off that screen and then find his teammate in the opposite corner. Great pass.
Well, you're right, Ant. That's the smarts of Crandall. It'll be interesting to see how many minutes he does play today, because he saw that shot. He wanted to test that shot out right from the beginning with that 3-point shot, depending how the score goes.
Well, there's no doubt that hand has been bothering him from his return, and you get the sense that had Leicester not been going for the league title, they might have left him to recover a bit longer. But needs must when there's a trophy up for grabs as Heron scores inside.
Absolutely, whatever it takes.
Brandon driving through off the mark, rebound Johnson.
Well, he didn't make that shot, but that's what you're going to get from Issa Brandon, is attacking the rim, being very aggressive.
Rebound by Jack Domney. Well, the Rocks, it's dropped out of bounds by Bunyan. The Rocks on the back end of back-to-back games, they do tend to do this a lot more than anybody else because of the geography, really. It's easier to play 2 games back-to-back, but over the course of the season, they have tended to play better in the second game of the back-to-back than they did in the first. And they're obviously well beaten last night by Cheshire.
Well, you're quite right. They did. I think they won that Plymouth game on the back end of a Bristol.
They got a beat down in Bristol where they scored 3 points in the third quarter and came back the next night and beat Plymouth as Bunyan gets them on the board.
Big shot from Bunyan there, and that's a retaliation there. He's disappointed with himself for turning the ball over, so he'd like to make amends there at the other end of the court.
Johnson in a bit of an awkward spot, gets it back to Anderson. Heron steps inside the arc and knocks down the long 2.
Good sign from Heron. He takes him to 4 points personal, a guy that we know throughout his career can score the ball very well, averaging 10 points a game so far for the Leicester Riders.
There's Bunyan, deep 3. Misses everything and out of bounds.
Well, no, you mentioned Heron just before that Bunyan shot, and I think that's a guy who, Coach Paternoster has really worked into the system since his arrival. Very, very difficult for him to gel with a team that's a winning team already, and he's shown great application with that task.
Ooh. He gets the ball eventually from Anderson. Crandall trying to feed it in. Jack Domney with the foul. And it really is the one position they don't really have a backup for, so he can't get in early foul trouble.
And that's a guy who's been averaging a heck of a lot of fouls all season long. You know, this is a real challenge for him to develop his game.
Johnson in the corner knocks down the three.
Oh, Corey Johnson's a guy that you do not want to get hot. Nice looking shot there from Johnson.
Well, the Rocks have seen that in this building already. I think it was the cup game. He was something like 6 of 10 from behind the arc against the Rocks. Brandon, you said, attacks the basket really well.
Very crafty, and he's a guy as well who's attacked the rim. If he's missed a few laps, it doesn't deter him. He keeps going, and as you can see there, very crafty around the rim.
Johnson throws it up high, just has enough for that to bobble in.
Johnson, he's so good from the perimeter. Defenders have to honor that pump fake he does, and he finds a way to get all the way to the rim there for the finish.
Here's Bunyan. Ooh. That's a moving screen, and that's going to be the second one.
You know, Daniel, I was just about to say, when Johnson went to the basket, that Jack Domney did well not to foul. But here, you know, that's a foul the referees are calling all season long.
So he just sort of leaned into it. And, well, he sits down. It'll be interesting to see how long before he returns. But Kwedi is a big unit, but he's not quite got the height. And they go straight.
All the athleticism.
Yeah, they go straight to Nelson Henry. He's done well there, and he's forced Nelson Henry into a travel.
There you go. Maybe you just need the weight.
Mark Kwedi says, who needs height, who needs athleticism?
All the viewers are thinking, ooh, we can play.
Find your local basketball court near you.
Absolutely.
A couple shots up.
Brandon again looking to get to the rack, denied by Heron. Back out to Bunyan. Steps in top of the key, has to bail out of the shot. Malcolm can't keep it in play.
Nice. Bunyan had already left his feet there and changed his mind mid-air, and by that time Malcolm was already going to crash the boards.
Nice pass into Nelson Henry, who jams it down.
Such a good pass there, and he leads the big man Nelson Henry to the rim, and easy dunk shot finish for him.
Kwedi into the spin move off the mark. I apologise if you heard any inappropriate language from the court. Here's Anderson down to Nelson Henry. Anderson in the corner for three. Doesn't go. Rebound Heron. Heron floats it in, but off the back iron. Long two from Kwedi is good.
Good looking shot. He's a very talented, skillful big man.
Heron, wow, with the heat check knocks down the three.
Wow. Jumpers ahoy.
Well, that's one of those that's only a good shot if it goes in, because there's nobody else to help you out. But there was no doubt, even with the court net, he was able to knock it down. You can see, great find from Crandall to get it to him, but that's still some shot that needs making. He's got 7 early points, and interesting here is Glasgow have called a timeout. This is usually the point in the game that Rob Paternostre makes his first move in terms of substitutions. Be interesting to see whether Lee comes in, because obviously he's out of the starting lineup. Does that mean he's out of the game, or are they going to see how the scoreboard goes? It's all that sort of thing that you've got to weigh up at this time of year.
I would predict they're resting him either through fatigue or for injury. I mean, William Lee just had too much of a good game against London Lions last game. You know, he was, for me, he was the best, you know, Leicester Riders player there. So logically, it doesn't make sense why you wouldn't start a guy who's just.
Well, he's got a bit of a hip problem. That was the thing, and the question is, how, you know, is that a bit of a hip problem? So we're trying to get him down to 15 minutes, or we're trying to get him to 0 minutes.
Yeah, especially, you know, they're going to play some big guys on Sunday. So, I mean, if it was me, I'd be sitting him for the whole game. And to be honest, I'd be taking Crandall out of this game in a minute.
That's obviously scoreboard dependent. If you get 15 up, you can do that. But if they get it back to 3, you need everything out there, don't you, Vince?
Well, you've got Connor Washington in there, and you've got Falzone on the bench, you've got, you know, Ali on the bench. I think you've got a whole bunch of weapons on there who could do with stretching their legs, if you like, ahead of the playoffs.
Well, the first one in is the former Rock. Scotland international. And the second one is gone to the bench, will be Connor Washington. And here's Malcolm for 3 over his Scottish teammate for the triple.
I think he's been excellent recently, and I think he's a prime example of a player that's given more minutes, more responsibility, and he's responded very, very well. His shot shoots the ball now with so much more conviction than he was doing at the beginning of the season.
Absolutely, you're dead right.
Fraser backing down to the spin, good footwork. And he's had some good gains against his old team this season, looking to do that again.
Well, I can tell both of you gentlemen, when you play against your ex-team, you get an extra bit of energy and an extra bit of oomph about your game, and I can tell you that Ali Fraser certainly has that against the Glasgow Rocks.
Well, Washington is coming in after that foul, but he's coming in for Johnson.
I mean, what you tend to do, Daniel, is if you have a player with an injury and you just want to see how he's getting on, you let him warm up and then you play him, and then after that maybe you sit him. So I think, with Crandall, he's done a nice piece of warm up, let him get a few minutes under his belt, and then
just keep. Right now, Leicester just need to keep giving the ball to Heron.
Absolutely. 20 plays 10.
Well, Heron has 9 of them, so he's only a point behind the Rocks on his own. Sowers, nice drive to the basket.
He's been an interesting player, Daniel, from his season at Worcester. I think maybe he kind of got lost in the rotation and had a bigger role this year, I think, with the Rocks.
I agree, Vince. I think he's really good as well getting to the basket. He's got an array of moves. He's very versatile. I think for him, it's his end product that sometimes lets him down, is that finishing of the play. But he's very, very versatile and very skilled. And, yeah, he's one of those players, isn't he? He could be really, really good in this league.
Absolutely. I saw him in a game at Glasgow when they played against Manchester, and he was terrific in and around the basket,
Crandall brings it forward for Leicester. Washington running to the corner, frees himself up for a 3-point shot. Connor Washington knocks down the triple.
So tough, and Malcolm has to jump out to Connor Washington because he shoots 40% from the 3-point line, and that pump fake gets his defender to fly by him, and Connor Washington does the rest.
Bunyan looking to reply. Washington with the rebound. Here's Anderson. He's going to take the corner 3.
Ooh.
Kicked out quickly to Brandon. Oh, who blows the layup? Here's Fraser. That's his range. And Glasgow will know all about that shot.
That's the ace spot there for Alice Fraser.
Brandon getting into the lane, hand in his face, shots off the mark. Washington out to Crandall, and he's fouled by Queddy to prevent him getting to the basket.
It's always an issue when you miss a shot like that. Isa Brandon misses quite far off. It's really hard to rebound that offensively, and all the while, Leicester Riders secured the basketball and they're pushing the ball the other way, and Queddy's no option but to foul there to stop the play.
Well, Valzan's coming in now for Leicester, which would suggest that Lee is probably not coming into the game. Here's Heron along the baseline. He's stuck under the basket, but he finds some room, and he's into double figures in the first quarter.
Well, I don't think there's any need to drop too many players from Coach Paternoster. Simple plan for me, give the ball to Mustafa Heron.
Washington racing down court, laying it in for 2, and Leicester starting to run away with this here. Back door from Malcolm. Oh, Washington right in the corner. Off the mark. He had to sort of shoot that forward a little bit. Good slap away. Referee's happy with it. Fraser's not. And tipped there by Heron, but I think he got a bit of the rim as well, so the basket will count.
There's a good chase down there, and
nearly got him.
yeah, it's a good push of the basketball here, and Van Soers again attacking the rim, and boy, hits the backboard first. Then Herron hits it, so goaltend.
Here's Washington for another three. That didn't hit anything, so it's saved by Falzon. Oh my, beautiful! And he gets the roll, Gino Crandall.
Wow, just incredible. We've seen this time and time again, an array of moves, phenomenal control there with the dribble, and finds a way to finish with the left.
Queddy in the corner for three, and the shot clock is off, so Leicester can get the final play here of a rampant first quarter. Here's Herron for three! And he has outscored the Glasgow Rocks on his own in the first quarter. Mustafa Herron has 14 points, and Leicester are running right here at the Morningside Arena. It is 34-13 at the end of one. Can Glasgow find any way back into this game? We'll have to find out after this break. Welcome back to Leicester, where the Riders have put 34 on the board in the first quarter, and they lead by 21 off 14 points from Herron. And there's a nice easy score for the Rocks. We haven't had too many of them, but Mpondo, with his first touch of the ball, jams it in. Nice pass. Beautiful assist from Connor Washington.
Really good find there from Washington, and a good strong roll to the basket as well from Fraser.
He's a perfect 3 of 3 from the floor for his 6 points. Queddy from behind the arc, in and out. This time the pass is broken up by Mpondo, who hits the deck.
Wow, interesting one there on the catch.
And it's going to be a foul on Falzon at the other end.
Well, Rocks will be happy to see that Herron's on the bench now. What you do have is you have Crandall and Washington playing the 1 and 2. So you've got two very creative guards there, but you've also got a shooter in Johnson who will be lurking along with fouls on the perimeter looking for three-point shots.
Well, an important result in the battle for playoff places as Johnny Bunyan hits the three. Surrey Scorchers have been beaten at home 78-86 by the Sheffield Sharks. And that is a blow for Creon Raftopoulos and his team as they look to try and overhaul Bristol in the last playoff place. Of course, the Flyers themselves are in action. They are down by 8 at the end of the first quarter at Plymouth. Could be a very good evening for Manchester.
So you don't play and it gets better.
Yeah, indeed. Here's Gwede. Back to Bunyan. He's going to take the long three, and he's going to knock it down. Johnny Bunyan with his third triple of the game.
Confident shot too from Bunyan, and nice follow through and finish.
And again, oh, should have been another assist for Washington, but Razor with the miss. Nice little stop and go from Mpondo.
Wow, Mpondo did the Crandall on Crandall there.
He's got a great explosion to Mpondo.
He's so quick. So quick. I mean, he's had some injuries that slowed him down, but exceptionally quick young man.
Johnson misses everything. That's his first miss of the game. Gonzalez to the spin all the way to the basket. Nice finish.
Such a difficult move there. The control and the ability as well to pick up the dribble and gather yourself and not travel. Nice reverse layup. Mansours.
Washington steps back for three and 2 air balls in a row from Leicester.
Well, before that, Leicester shooting 65% from the floor, but those two will affect that number.
Well, Coach Paternoster was talking in the pre-game about his team's struggles with shooting in recent weeks. Nice pass, and it's big to God this time around.
Good team chemistry there. We see this week in, week out from this Riders team, whether it's Nelson Henry or Ali Frazier, their bigs being able to dish back to the guards.
Yes, I think the speed of thought that Crandall has brought to the team shows.
Pondo got caught on that. One of them where I think it's a landing space issue. Fouls on. The shot had gone, and he commits the foul. I think he was coming out of the game anyway, but you can see diving into him. But that is his second personal foul.
A really big, I think, aspect for this Riders team to approach today. Dan, you said it, they're not shooting the ball particularly well, you know, especially in the 2 losses that they've had of recent times. And I think you need a game sometimes like this that can really not just grow confidence, but grow some sort of continuity on the offensive end. And for Riders, look, the mission is simple, is to win the game. But I think the performance is even more so important for this Riders team at the moment.
You can tell Anderson had just checked into the game because he was going for the rebound there. Hadn't quite clocked it was 3 free throws.
I told you that was the trick. If you're unsure if it's 50-50 where we should go or not, just go. What you don't want to do is to be that guy who's still on the line there, standing there.
Crandall spins one in to the post. Anderson, just a little bit behind his guard. That's going to be a backcourt violation.
Well, Glasgow in a position here, you know, they've closed the gap to 13, but you can see the confidence starting to grow a little bit here, and if they are able to score on this possession, they ultimately even close that deficit.
Poked away by Crandall. And 24-second bar. Is it a foul? No, it's a foul.
It's a foul call. Must have been right on the buzzer, that one.
Johnson called for it. Let's have another look.
Oh,
Just a
the
little
light
reach
was on.
in,
I
yeah.
thought the light was on.
It was one of them where actually I was looking at the backboard to see if the shot clock violation had gone off before he reached in. It was very close.
Very, very close to being 3 shots as well.
I'm just going to rebound anyway.
2 for 2.
Well, they got it back to 11, having lost the first quarter by 21. They've outscored Leicester 16-6 here in the first 4 minutes of this period.
And he's a guy you wouldn't mind having on court. 44.5% from the 3-point line. He's a guy that can shoot you back into a game in a hurry.
Johnson. There's a real battle in there, and it's going to be Anderson who's called for the foul. It was interesting. I was talking to Kieran before the game about the fact that Gareth was not playing, and obviously he's learning his role as a coach, but I'm guessing as he goes forward as a coach, he's not going to leave one of his best players on the bench for 40 minutes, which is what he's doing in these last few games.
No, you hope not. I mean, he's got some decisions to make, because obviously he's got these guys playing fairly, confidently, irrespective of whatever the score is. I think the question now is going to be, when does he bring Jack Dumney back in? Because if Jack Dumney had a 1 foul in the first and 1 in the second, he'd be in now.
Yeah, probably.
Oh, it's these silly ones that, there's just no need for that, Well,
that's the thing. They're essentially playing with 7 because of Gareth is on. He could come on if they got into serious foul trouble, obviously. But as you say, those are the fouls that serve no purpose whatsoever and just get you in foul trouble.
Yep. Now with X amount of minutes to go, you're putting so much pressure on yourself.
Oh, nice pass and a two-handed jam for Ali Fraser.
Ali Fraser knows that Crandall has eyes in the back of his head, so all he does is just cut to the basket as soon as Crandall drives.
Well, you just have to run around with your hands up. One of my very, very, very first seasons playing basketball, I had a chance to play at Crystal Palace with Alton Bird, and basically he just kept hitting people in the face with the ball. So basically, at practice, it was right. It's £5 for everybody I hit in the face. So you just ran around the gym with your hands up just in case.
£5 back then, Vince?
Well, that was a lot of money, right?
Buy a house back then with £5.
No, it wasn't 1842. But no, it's similar with this young man because, he really knows how to set his teammates up.
He must be so fun to play with. Must be so fun. Any big guy that likes to score easy baskets around the rim, it would be an absolute joy to play with a guy like Gino Crandall.
No good for a guy who hovers around the elbow, then. You'd be out of the job.
You'd be in the way.
I'm sure you can find me out there.
Oh, there he is challenging the shot as well. Heron, step back 3. Well, it's almost like the open 3 was too easy. And Sauer's looking to attack. Blocked. Ooh, foul call.
Interesting one. Is that on Gino Crandall or is it on?
No, it is on Fraser.
Okay.
Wow, look pretty good from where I'm sitting, but
You don't want to give me a whistle.
Well, Van Sowers does do a really good job out there. And what he's done the whole game so far today is creating for himself and finding ways to attack the rim, and that's what he done there on that occasion.
Well, Rob Paternostro calling a timeout. His team still being outscored by 16 points to 10 here in this second quarter, and you know they're not going to score 34 points every quarter, but his concern will be that it's sort of dropped down from 34 points a quarter to on pace for sort of 19 points here in the second quarter.
Yeah, it's been a positive response from this Rocks team, and I think more importantly as well, they had 5 turnovers at the end of the first quarter, and they're still on 5 now. So they've looked after the basketball a lot better, which therefore limits the Leicester Riders, being able to push the basketball in retaliation and score in transition. So yeah, it's been a good account for this Glasgow Rocks team so far in this quarter.
This one of 7 assists for Gino Crandall in the ball game. He averages just over that in the games so far this season, number 2 in the league behind Ramon Fletcher, who is, he's on pace for one of the greatest assist rate seasons of all time, Fletcher.
Definitely.
Only Alton Bird, as you've already mentioned him, ahead of him in terms of assists per game. Alton had a couple of seasons where he averaged 10 a game.
Wow. Wow.
It would have been 15, but he kept hitting people in the face.
If I see anyone wandering around with their hands up, I'll know why.
See anybody with a broken nose, you'll know why as well.
No, we got that. We got Justin Robinson already.
Oh, good steal, and Pondo racing it back and finishing well at the ring. He's definitely injected some life into the Rocks here in this second quarter.
He's exciting to watch. Just
very exciting, very quick,
athletic, and just looks hungry, doesn't he? Plays basketball like he's enthusiastic and hungry for the ball.
Johnson top of the key, off short. He can get it back to 10 here.
Wow.
Maybe even 9, and there will be 3 free throws there.
Goodness.
And again, it's another one of those landing spot things where he's jumped forward, Heron's jumped forward into him and made contact that doesn't impact the shot. And it's those fouls that...
Wow.
It was a confident shot from David and Pondo as well. And Kieran Achara was really excited about him at the beginning of the year. So he was, saw him in practice and the way he moved. He was really excited. It hasn't really, I would say, been a come-out season for him, but he's certainly displaying his talents and showing us what his potential is. And
it was the injuries, because our place, we played him the first game at our place. I think it was before the Americans came, and he had 21, scoring quite freely. But the injury that he had kept him out of the game for a long time. I think he's only been playing the last 3 or 4 games with spot minutes.
A player like that as well, so quick and athletic. The injuries really do hinder that individual's game even more so that, when you compare it to maybe, I don't know, a spot-up shooter or someone who's not really relying on their athleticism as much.
Wow. It could have been worse for Leicester, that, with just the last free throw going in. It's 11 points the lead in favour of the Riders. Johnson with the step back, and he knocks it down.
Good start from Corey Johnson, takes him to 9 points personal. Good looking jump shot right there.
Squirty driving in, drops off a nice little pass out to Bunyan for 3. Heron gets into the lane, almost loses the ball, and as Malcolm hits the deck, he has the easy score.
It's looking very easy for him today, isn't it, his offense? Heron scoring in a number of ways, 16 points already.
Squirty. Foul is called, will that count? No, it's on the floor, says the referee.
I never understand this call, because the referees always tell me, he's picked the ball up, so it should count.
You're right, it's a grey area call. That's very.
He picked the ball up, so he should be counted.
I think he got the hip there and then picked the ball up.
Right.
I think that's a very astute spot by the official there. So he will shoot 2 anyway, because Leicester over the limit for this quarter.
Wow, the Rocks are the worst shooting free throw team in the league at 67%.
Well, as they've done all season. Hello to you watching on the fan wall at home. It's been a good job from Leicester to use the big screens in that way. Kind of brings the fans in, and the players sort of wave to them at the end through the fan wall as well to thank them for their support, as they would do if they were in the middle of the court waving for the stands.
Yeah, I thought it was a nice touch, Daniel, when they did that in the trophy for the NBL teams.
Yeah,
when they, with the family from home. A very nice touch.
Here's Brandon. Lobbed inside, but lost his feet there, Van Sowers. Nelson Henry driving into the basket, kicks it out to Johnson for three, halfway down. Falzon trying to keep it alive, but Rocks come away with it.
Brandon looks like he's going to the rack. No, pulls out.
And Sowers kicks out to Kwedi for three, and he certainly can knock that one down. And that has forced Rob Paternostro into a timeout. He's not happy. I think it was Nelson Henry for helping. It's one of those things, as a five, you're not used to guarding a guy like that who's going to stand out on the three-point line and knock it down. And
no, Coach P's not happy.
No.
I mean,
it all started with Van Sowers again, top of the key there, making things happen, penetrating to the rim, and as you say, Nelson Henry gets sucked in there, and Kwedi just confident knocks it down.
You know, it's one of those things where, you know, you're playing against a team, like we said, with nothing to lose. These guys are enjoying themselves. You know, they don't mind. You're all about trying to think about what you're trying to achieve, and it's just important that you all don't get carried away. You know, you just got to win the game, move on to the next one. We can deal with the performance in practice, you know.
Well, the other thing, I mean, the Rocks have outscored Leicester 24-10 in this quarter, but with 2 minutes from half-time, Leicester are a basket away from 50. I wager if they get 100 points in this game, they're going to win the game.
Absolutely.
The problem the Rocks have inherently got is they haven't found a way of stopping Leicester for a prolonged period in this game.
And you know, the danger is, you know, whether the foul trouble eventually catches up with them. You know, even if they were to find a way to stop, you know, I mean, Heron, you know, can do what he wants right now. I think if I'm Johnson, I'm putting up as many shots as I can right now and find my rhythm. And between Fraser and Nelson Henry, they've done a good job at the rim. So, hey ho.
Here's Crandall. Gets it in himself, leaves it short, gets his own rebound. Second one comes out, and Glasgow managed to secure the ball. Almost threw it away.
Don't want to be passing anywhere near Crandall like that.
And Pondo off the mark, batted out by Malcolm. And here he is on the three-point line, and he strings it. Second chance points that he earned himself there.
I was just going to say that, Daddy thoroughly deserved that. Great
thoroughly deserved that.
Tip, and then didn't stand still as well. Ball watch. He relocated to the corner of that three, and his teammate found him.
Well, they got it into single figures, and they get a stop. Brandon. Out to Malcolm again. Not this time. Into the final minute of the first half. Johnson for three, knocks it down.
There's only so long you can keep a good shooter down, you know, just keep shooting the ball.
Well, he's got 12. Heron has 16. Those two have been the leading scorers for Leicester with 28 of their 51. And Pondo driving all the way to the basket, almost got it to go, but will shoot two as Johnson commits the foul. Hondo makes the first.
He's in double figures.
Glasgow with a little full court pressure the last couple of seconds of this first half. Oh, Crandall somehow got a shot away there. Didn't quite go in. But I don't know how he squeezed the shot off to end that half. But Leicester, well, keep scoring, but a much better second quarter by the Glasgow Rocks with 29 points in that period.
No, really positive. Look at this arrangement there, and literally shoots it from his hip, falling out of bounds. It's been a nice attempt. But no, the Glasgow Rocks, they've been really positive response from them. You know, not to only score 28 points, but to also only allow 17. Very good from them. And they've looked after the basketball as well, Dan. You know, 5 turnovers at the end of that quarter. Sorry, end of the first quarter. They only have 1 the whole second quarter. So translating onto some positive transactions there on court for them.
Well, looking at the numbers, you can see Leicester getting a lot more shots in action, partly because the Rocks have been able to get to the free throw line, and that has been, they've not been great from the free throw line, but it helps keep the scoreboard ticking over.
Yeah, for sure. We've seen it, haven't we? You know, end of the shot clock, you know, not a lot of options going on. They've got the players created something, penetrated to the rim, got the Riders defense to foul. So, yeah, it's been really good for them, and they've been that consistent, or at least a drip feed of offense there, putting on points on the board for them.
Well, let's get some halftime reaction courtside with Nat.
Thanks, Dan. Gino Crandall joins us. Gino, first things first, great to see you back on court. How's the hand?
Getting better. You know, it's a process. It's been a really long process, still not 100%, but I feel like I got some positive things to do out there, even in a limited capacity. So I'm just happy to be out there and helping my guys out. It was a blistering first quarter from the Riders, but the Rocks have rallied in this game. What's changed? We let them score the ball. You know, anytime you're taking the ball out of the net and having to take it out of bounds, you're going to be a little slower getting the ball up the court than if you're rebound and misses it. And so we've got to pick it up on the defensive end. You know, it's kind of cliched, but sometimes the best offense can be a good defense, letting you get out in transition and score. And we didn't play any defense that second quarter, and it's hurt us a lot. I read an interview with you this week on the Sky Sports website where you're talking about the run-in and the situation, dropping games, talking about that amongst your teammates and the pressure mounting and acknowledging that. What's the mood in the camp been like in the last 48 hours since the London defeat? Yeah, you know, I think that one hurt us a lot. Obviously, anytime you've got a chance to win a championship and you don't take care of business, it's going to linger with you for a little bit. But, you know, we've tried to keep a positive attitude going forward because at the end of the day, you know, the most important game is the next game. Every day you can't dwell too much on what's happened in the past. We're still in a good position to win the league, so we've got to handle business. And so far we're not doing that. You know, even though the scoreboard, we're up a few points, we're not playing to a first place level at the moment. So I'm going to go in there and tell the guys the same thing because we've got to pick it up today. We've got to pick it up on Sunday, and we've got to pick it up heading into the playoffs. We'll let you get into that locker room. Thanks very much, Gino. Appreciate your time. Yeah, thank you. Well then, didn't expect this scoreline at the half. The Riders in complete control of this game after the first quarter, but the Rocks have rallied, and it's just a 9-point ball game. Analysis and reaction coming next.
and it looked like they'd already put it to bed, but the Rocks weren't having any of that. Bouncing back strongly in the second half. It's a 51-42 ball game at half-time. Look at the stats. Getting to the free throw line, the Rocks, which is key. The three-point range as well. Not entirely prolific, but some clutch hits landed there from Glasgow. And Leicester, well, they're going to be frustrated that this game isn't already in the bag after that first quarter. And we talked, Vince, about the importance of a solid start for the Rocks, but it was the diametric opposite. It was the dream start for Rob Paternoster and the Riders.
Yes, but like I said to you, I don't think it mattered to the Rocks how the game went at the beginning, because they were going to play the same way. It was just a case of which of their guys were going to be ready to play, which one of them were not going to make their dumb fouls. Unfortunately, Jack Domney took himself out the game, but that only allowed other people to come and take control. And I see, you know, Johnny Bunyan just playing steady, hit a three, steady, hit a three. So, you know, it's a kind of game I expected to see. The Riders guys are getting themselves a little flustered when there's no need. All they need to do is just focus and just play, and they'll be fine.
But it's easy for heads to drop. I get the idea that it's a free hit for Glasgow and they can play freely and without abandon. But at the same time, after a quarter like that and a young, inexperienced side, a number of the players, their heads could have dropped, but they didn't.
No, and this is credit to Coach Murray, because, he's had them like that. They've only won four games so far, albeit some big teams that they've beaten in a very tough season for them. But he's really got them playing to the point where they don't really care what the score is. Now, you could say that might have hurt them when they narrowly lost to Newcastle the other day, because they should have known what the score was and they should have won the game. Right,
that's a great point, actually. They ran the Eagles tight coming into this game. But in terms of Leicester and in terms of that first quarter, it was the Heron show because he outscored the entire Glasgow Rocks team in the first quarter, Kieran.
Yeah, and it all started, he got the ball in early. He's so strong, a versatile player. But I always say, as a fellow lefty, when you make your first basket with your right hand, you know it's going to be a good day.
Clock that straight away.
So he made that shot, he got his rhythm, he's shooting the ball a lot better. I know from his college days he could shoot the three. Got off to quite a slow start from the three-point line with Leicester, but he's hitting right now. He's fitting into this team, he's aggressive and he's confident.
And he came in mid-season, of course. He was out of basketball for a year, Vince, so it's been impressive.
And that's why he's playing this way, because he loves every moment. He could care less whether they're playing London or they're playing Glasgow. He just wants to play, and you can see it on the floor.
Absolutely hitting the ground running. Speaking of players that love to play, Gino Crandall, no surprise there. He's had more minutes than any other Riders player in the first half. That's maybe a surprise. Kieran, you've been keeping an eye on his hand injury. Do you think he's looking more comfortable than he did midweek?
Yeah, so I was watching the Newcastle game. He was grimacing a lot, dribbling the ball. Some of the passes, he was a little bit hesitant. But tonight, he's firing all cylinders. He's looking a lot more comfortable out there. He's dropping off passes. 8 assists first half, and at the same time he has the ability to get to the rack and score. The one thing I'm still missing right now is his shooting ability from outside. Still not looking quite the shooter that he can be, but at the same time he's right back to where he needs to be.
A Rocks player we want to look at is David Mpondo. He's somebody that you rate, Kieran. You said he's had an up and down career, but trending back in the right direction.
Yeah, I love how aggressive he is. I always love physical players who can get to the basket. The way he attacks the basket, it looks effortless, but it's his changes speed. But the one thing I said about him is, when you're a young player, I know Vince talked about earlier on, when you're actually taking the keys and riding the bus, it's really, really difficult for point guards to really kind of adjust to the league, because you have to dictate the whole court, and I think he's been struggling with that at times.
The Rocks dangerous from three-point range, as I mentioned at the top. Johnny Bunyan amongst them. We said if they were going to have a shot tonight, he needed to be prolific, and he stepped up to that.
Yes, he has, and this is a guy that's really leading this team. He is playing like a 10-year veteran. He's seen it all before. He's played here many times, with Kieran on the team, without Kieran on the team. So, he's very stable, and he's really holding this team together in terms of what they can do with the speed and quickness and outside shooting.
That big shot there, that's Johnny. When he's shooting from range with confidence, he's going to be a big threat to anybody on that court.
Yeah, absolutely. And confidence starting to build and build in this Glasgow side as the game went on. Who's going to be the happier coach at the half?
Oh, we know who the happier coach is at the half. It's Coach Murray, because you could see, Coach Paternoster going into the changing room with his big stick. I think, they're going to come out here with a point to prove and put this thing to bed. The guys on the Rocks team have got to now be ready for an avalanche.
And, of course, you're staying completely neutral, Coach, aren't you, throughout all of this?
Of course.
I can sense that. Now, listen, we've got no plays of the week from the BBL this week because, well, it's more of a play of the week. Not exactly in the last week, but certainly one of our favourite pieces of action from the season so far, courtesy of Mr. Vince McCauley. Look at this. On your 60th birthday, no less, Rolling back the years there, Vince. Still got the magic.
On my 60th birthday, thank you very much. Well, hey, you know, you love this game, right? Doesn't matter whether you're 6 or 60, you love this game.
You're proving that. What take was that, incidentally?
2, actually.
I'm going to have to say it. That was disgusting. That was right where it needed to be.
Absolutely brilliant.
Love
Love
it.
seeing
I'm
that.
happy I've got a disgusting from him now.
Kieran, in the playoffs, when we do the coverage, are we going to see you on court trying that?
You know, I was actually trying to shoot the other day, and for the next 2 days, my arm was killing me. So, yeah, you won't see that from me.
Vince loves seeing that. Could watch that all day long. Great stuff. Right, this one is keenly poised, isn't it? We didn't expect it would be, certainly after that first quarter, but the Rocks getting themselves back into this, despite Gino's magic. Big half of basketball coming up as far as the title race is concerned. Second half coming next. Welcome back to Leicester. A big half of basketball coming up as far as the BBL championship race is concerned. Glasgow fighting their way back into it. It is all to do for Leicester in the second half. Let's get back over to Ant and Dan.
Thank you very much, Nat. Yes, you feel that the Riders probably heard it not only from Gino at halftime, but also from Coach Paternostro. He'll be wanting to get this one in the books as soon as he possibly can. I mean, they still lead by 9, but it's one of those that you want to just take the pressure away. He's always a guy prowling the sidelines, so he'd like to get to a point where he can sit down. But they go early to Nelson Henry, who leaves the hook shot a bit short.
He's a player that they want to get back in rhythm. You know, he's had an incredibly good season, so efficient for these guys. He's been that rock in the middle of the paint for them, and they'll be wanting for him to be firing on all cylinders as we enter the playoffs.
Van Sowers with the mid-range jump shot.
Nice soft jumper.
The Rocks who throw the first punch in the second half.
Jack Domney's back in the game.
And he's deflecting the ball away, and the Rocks in transition. A chance to cut this lead yet further. Van Sowers scoops it up off the mark. Oh, stolen away though by Brandon, and they do get 2 points in the end, the Rocks.
Wow. Good energy from this Rocks team, and it's careless turnovers from the Riders at the moment, and confidence clearly growing on this Rocks team.
Well, they had their problems in the third quarters of the last 2 games, Leicester.
Gino does really well on that occasion there to blow by his defender and get fouled. An opportunity to shoot two free throws.
It just shows you they haven't made that adjustment. The Glasgow Rocks, you know, Gino can't shoot the ball right now with that hand, so they're right on top of him, and he takes that hard dribble to the right and gets by him. They just got to give him a cushion, make him shoot the ball. Plus, they've collected a foul.
Well, he makes both from the free throw line, closing in on a double-double. He's got 8 points and 8 assists. Malcolm's 3 is short. It's Heron, who was hot in the early stages.
Oh.
And a hand-checking foul called on Brandon.
Collecting the fouls hard.
It's his first. That Van Sowers one on the previous play was his third. He's the first Rock to get to that mark. Here's Anderson for 3. A little bit short, but Nelson Henry trying to keep it alive. Brandon wins the battle.
Ooh.
Just got the pass to Malcolm. Bunyan in the corner for 3.
Crandall saw that pass early.
Moves out in front, and the long pass finds him, but he can't finish. Kind of threw him away from the basket to pass. Bunyan, they've all dived off him. That's a bad mistake.
Cannot leave Johnny Bunyan open like that. He wanted to pass the ball initially, but realized he had more time and space than he thought, and let it go and knocked it down.
Most deceptive player in the BBL. Oof, Brandon tried to collect another one.
The gap down to 4. Herrick trying to do something about it. He can, but it bobbles out to Leicester. Johnson, lots of time and space, and he's not going to miss that.
He is not down. He had a really, really good first half, and he's carrying on. That takes him to 15 points personal.
Jack Domney loses the ball.
Great hands from Nelson Henry. Oh, there's a foul again from Brandon.
And again, it was one of those, I'm not going to play any D, I'm just going to foul.
Just useless, yeah. I hope his dad's not watching. You know, his
as a
dad,
coach, was a master of defense.
Of course, absolute master of defense.
That Sheffield team in the first year that Sheffield were in the league, when they won the league.
Yep.
Won the league. I think they were the lowest scoring team in the league that year, and they won the league. That's how good they played defense.
Yeah, and even as a player,
even
Jimmy
as
Brandon,
a player,
I think he led the league in block shots. Would you believe 1 year at 6'5"?
Wow.
You know, so yeah, he's needs to go and watch some tapes of Dad.
Well, another key result in the playoff battle, and it's a big win for the Worcester Wolves, who've beaten Newcastle Eagles by 92 points to 87. That is a huge victory for Matt Newby and his team, particularly given the fact that Parks, who got injured last week, not playing in that game, and they've still managed to knock off the Newcastle Eagles, although Defoe, I think, is still out for the Eagles after that groin injury he picked up last week. But that will really boost the playoff positioning hopes for the Wolves, who become the first team to complete their league campaign. They're now 14 and 16.
Wow, well, 27 points from Kimball to lead them there, and I think obviously not, without Parks, but also without Anderson still.
Yeah,
very good result.
They were hopefully might be back for the playoffs, Anderson. But how effective he can be having been out for so long is another question. Here's Crandall driving through, tipped up, still going at it, Nelson Henry, and can't convert. Van Sowers.
Fouls on Crandall there, I believe. There's a lot of frustration on the faces of the Riders guys, and I really don't understand it because they just need to move the ball, run the floor like they do. We haven't seen any presses here. We haven't seen any containment. I'm surprised that Washington's only played 8 minutes.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that. They seem to be so fixated on the score. It's the performance for me, I think, is the...
Absolutely. You said that earlier on, and it's, how they play.
Now comes 3 off the mark. And you just said to the referee, well, you're going to call that, right? And it is the foul, and it is on Van Sowers, which is his 4th personal foul.
Well, I think him and Jack Dominic were trying to race to see who could get to 4 first.
Well, typically that's not a race you want to win.
Interesting change that Coach Murray has made is he's actually put Johnny Bunyan on Crandall.
Crandall taking it on his own. But, a foul called, and well, it was almost a tie in that race
between Jack Dumney and Queddy.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't turn your side. You either you're in or you're out, as they say. You see, it turns his side here, thinking, I don't want it, but you can have it.
They're not going to make the change, so Jack Domney's going to walk the line here. I suppose the problem is, if they take him out, they'd have to put Mpondo in, and it'd be
well, he's still got 2. He's still got 2 to play with.
No, that was Jack Domney's 4th.
Was his 4th?
Yeah, that was his 4th.
My goodness.
Here he is at the offensive end.
Let's see if he gets a point. What's his 0 for right now?
Well, he sat most of the first half.
He's played all of 8 minutes and 5 seconds. You know how many fouls you have to commit to average 4 a game?
Here's Crandall. Oh, but he blocks the shot. Jack Domney trying to block another one. And the Rocks can't keep it in play. It'll be a Leicester ball.
Well, he's still out there blocking shots. Typically, guys on 4 fouls with a lot of game to go are not doing that, but it's kind of borderline impressive. 4 fouls in 8 minutes. I don't know if you're a Glasgow Rocks fan, if you're mad at him, or actually impressed that he's done that.
Well, Crandall out of the game for the first time, I believe.
Yes, now in coming in Ali Fraser and Connor Washington. I like this Leicester lineup here.
It's into Anderson off the glass.
It's a really unique play there. Anderson had the defender on his back, and what he did, he just moved him out a little bit further to create some more space, and pretty much had a layup towards the rim there.
Here's Brandon. Stolen away by Anderson.
Yeah. This lineup is going to blow him away here, I reckon.
And there's a foul called on Queddy, and it'll be 2 free throws for Heron.
Good hands from Jamal Anderson there just to take the ball from Queddy. And I think Frazier does a good job of running the floor because he runs the floor, the defense have to be mindful of that, but also try and stop the basketball, and Heron takes advantage of that. And yet another foul for the Glasgow Rocks.
I feel like we need clarification, Vince, because you said you like this Leicester lineup. Presumably you like it from a Leicester point of view rather than a London point of view.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I like it. I mean, this is a very potent Leicester lineup. I think this lineup is not going to worry about who scores. They're just going to move the ball around, and I think they're going to execute a little better than maybe they have been doing for the first part of the game.
I agree. And this lineup has guys that feel good today. You know, Corey Johnson feels good today. Heron's feeling good today. Frazier's feeling good today. You know, it's a good, very good unit right now for this game.
Here's Bunyan, who's also feeling good today. Well, that one rims back out. Going hard against Queddy, can't finish. Still a 10-point Leicester lead. Bunyan. Ricocheted back to him. They still up. No, they don't. It's turned over. Here come Leicester. Johnson to Heron. Spots up for three, turns it down. Washington won't turn one down that open. He doesn't make it.
Wow, Glasgow's got away with one there.
Definitely.
Oh, you look at the advanced stats. Washington, one of the best on the wide open catch and shoot in the league.
Oh, nice pass.
Jack Domney for two.
Nice pass from Quiddy. I thought earlier on in the season, I thought Coach Murray was using Quiddy as a facilitator in the middle of the floor, and then again his injury slowing him down meant, you know, he missed 8 to 10 games.
Washington gets into the lane, fires it up high. Jack Domney changed that shot and he got the rebound. But a turnover. Heron on his own, out in front. And just the easy drop into the basket.
That's the trade-off with Mpondo, isn't it? He's so quick, so exciting. He has got that tendency to be a little bit too quick for his handles there.
And that's what Kieran was saying, that it was a problem for Coach Murray between Brandon and Mpondo. Neither of them can actually set the table.
Malcolm, did he step on the line? I think he did. He was trying to dance his way along it.
Coach Paternoster's taken Heron out for foul zone.
And here is foul zone. First touch, and he hasn't quite warmed into the game in the second half.
I'm always weary of that. You know, when you first come in the game,
it's like a hospital pass.
Yeah. You want a couple easy rotations to get you back in, get the blood flowing back in the arms before you shoot it up.
Oh, dear.
Mpondo. Domney, shot clock getting low here. Needs to go. It's got to be quicker than that. He's poked away in the end.
Oh, big post up on the. Oh my! Knocked out by Fraser Malcolm.
That was a great tip by Fraser Malcolm too, because Ali Fraser was in the post against Johnny Bunyan, and I'm pretty confident we know the outcome of what that would have been.
Yeah.
Falls on misses, tipped down by Malcolm. Here's Mpondo. Back to Malcolm for three. Well, nothing but net, but unfortunately for him, it was the front side of the net.
Strange part of the game at the moment. Both teams just seem to have gone cold. It's 10-9, and no real fluidity for either offense at the moment.
It's crazy, isn't it, really, watching this? I mean,
Here's Johnson trying to get the scoreboard ticking.
No offensive rebounder there from the. It's strange to see the faces of the Riders players. I've never seen a Riders team like this. I'm surprised.
90 seconds to play here in the third. Still a 10-point lead for the Riders. Bunyan trying to do something about it.
Goodness.
Oh, a blown layup by Jack Domney. It came off him last. It'll be a Leicester ball.
Jack Domney has to finish that. It's a really good cut from him, and great pass from Bunyan, and Jack Domney will definitely want that one back.
Definitely. He's trying so he's over trying because of those fouls and the fact he sat down for so long.
Well, Coach Paternoster trying to find a five that'll work for him now. Heron back into the game. Anderson's going to take the three. Kept alive, but only to Kwedi.
Wow.
Bunyan out to Kwedi, fakes the three. Malcolm back to Kwedi, poke to get away. Still have it, the Rocks. Malcolm for three. Rebound Washington.
Malcolm was calling for the foul there.
I think he's going to get a flop warning from the official, and Heron was out of court and jumped into it, I think.
What a combination. Because Washington had somebody under the bucket and he didn't throw it underneath, decided to go to Heron, and he stepped out of bounds. My pet hate this. I know Daniel's going to say this. Go on, Daniel, tell me about it.
Well, it's weird, isn't it? No, honestly, I can't get my head around it. Ever since they moved the three-point line, there's been loads of these out of bounds. It never used to happen.
It's either that or people have got bigger shoes.
But they only moved it about an inch or two in the corner as well. It makes no sense. And it was 15 years ago or 10 years ago. They must adjust, surely. No idea. Bunyan knocks down the three. Leicester still have a couple of seconds here. Heron will pull up, but the triple on the buzzer back iron. Don't think he got that away in time. Well, a very weird third quarter there. Just 22 points between them. The Rocks have chipped it down a little bit here. Leicester's still in the lead, but they need to do a bit more if they are going to stay another step towards the title. 10 minutes to play in Leicester. The Riders 61, the Rocks 54. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back to Leicester. With 10 minutes to go here, the Riders lead the Rocks by 7. Glasgow have the ball. And, well, the way they've been playing, this game is trending to Glasgow as it's gone in. Leicester with 35. It's Bunyan for 3, 34-13 after the first quarter. And it is 41-36 since then, as Fraser gets an easy one at the basket. 27, sorry.
You've got to ask yourself, why they not went to him a little bit earlier? You know, him or Nelson Hammer, you've got Jack Domney on 4 fouls. No real other big, size inside or resistance around the rim, and they haven't done that.
But he misses the 3. Oh, good hands to poke that away from Heron. Domney. Nice.
So good at that. He's got good size, good athleticism, and a nice soft touch there.
And also good patience. That's the thing with big guys. Just take your time and go over the top.
Crandall. Nice finish from Fraser.
Well, that's where I'm looking to get the ball is Ali Fraser.
Good job by Ali Fraser. Ali Fraser made the adjustment straight away on that Jack Domney post up.
They're looking to get it into the big man, but
he's on the wrong side.
There's no way to get him the ball. Here's Mpondo. Ripped away. The Rocks still have it. Bunyan fires it up. Well, they reset the shot clock there, and they probably shouldn't, but Bunyan got it away anyway. Here's Heron. Heron going all the way and jamming it in.
Wow. Just the ability to fly by Mpondo there, who was pretty quick himself. Nice dunk finish.
He just turned the speed up, and there was only one thing he was doing. They kind of needed something like that to spark them, Leicester, but then the referee goes to the table, I think, to check on that shot clock issue. And it, yeah, exactly. Well, look, the intensity seems to have gone up a little bit here defensively from Leicester.
For sure, look how high up the court the Rocks are having to catch the ball.
Sweaty's pass, oh, it deflects right back to him. Bunyan for three.
Oh my goodness.
In and out. Crandall. Oh, that's too nice. That is too nice. Martin didn't know whether he was going left or right. He kept turning one way or the other. Where's he gone? And a great pass at the end of it.
He does it with such control, though. And then the pass is perfect. You know, Ali Fraser is right there for him to catch and finish.
Well, it's definitely been him that has got things going against his old team here in the fourth quarter.
They should have listened to us when we were talking about playing your own teams.
Here's Malcolm. Poked away again by Crandall. Fraser gives it up to him. Crandall was waiting for a trail, and it eventually comes. And Fraser with the offensive rebound, bodies all over the place. I don't think it could have been a charge, because I think they were inside the circle, which is why there was no call on any of that. And it's going to be a timeout to the Glasgow Rocks. With 6:46 to go, they've been outscored 11-2. And it's their old boys come back to haunt them here in the fourth.
Phew, well, they got the ball into the hands of the right person.
I think the good sign as well for the Riders is they were able to turn that on and impact the game so crucially in those 3 minutes there, which is, you know, because that third quarter, it did look a little dismal for them. They weren't hitting shots, but also defensively, you can just tell, Dan, as you commented, that the intensity on the defensive end is night and day, is what we saw in the third quarter, and that translates to the rest of your game. This is a Leicester Riders team that are not as defensive oriented as past Leicester Riders teams have been, but you know, it clearly shows that when you're getting stops, you can get, you know, buckets and creates offense for you the other end of the floor.
You also don't want to be in a position where you're playing the scoreboard. You know, you just want to play basketball to the best of your ability. I think they've been playing the scoreboard for the past 2 quarters.
Well, down in Bristol, it's pretty grim for the home team. They're getting whacked by their local rivals, 69-90, with still 6 minutes to go. Plymouth leading the Flyers, and well, I'm sure there's a little corner of Manchester very pleased by the way things have gone this evening. Giants in with a shot now. The other two teams have come back to them now. They're all on the same record, or they will be, assuming that Bristol don't have a miracle last few minutes and find a way to win that game. Some battle for that last playoff place.
I think Ali Fraser was grabbing there on that one.
Brandon. Poked away again by Anderson. They've done that a few times in this quarter, Leicester.
Mark Quiddy will be happy to see the back of Jamal Anderson. He has been a nightmare for him.
You can see Leicester with 5 players in double figures. And Fraser, the second highest scorer in the game with 19, certainly turned it up.
He's been a game changer, hasn't he? He's been a constant flow of offense that they could depend on in this fourth quarter.
Bunyan looking for options. Malcolm for 3. It's a good challenge, but a better shot.
And he looks at the ref and says, hey, get him off me.
Big shot from Malcolm there. It was a very good contest from Heron.
Well, they'd only scored 2 points in the quarter to that point. Well, Crandall gets all the way to the basket for 2.
Recover and handle not, he's still got those explosive calves.
It's Brandon the top of the key. Washington. Heron in the corner. And he knocks down his third 3 of the game. 24 points from Mustafa Heron.
Unselfish pass there from Connor Washington, who could have elected to shoot the ball himself, but did the right decision, made one more pass, and Heron had way too much time in the corner.
That's the Riders' favorite play down the stretch there, that little Spanish pick and roll there for Connor Washington, the last 2 possessions.
Heron's best scoring night for Leicester with 24, going past the 19 he had against Cheshire the other week, and Leicester off and running again. Again, that one inside the no charge circle, so can't be an offensive foul. And Leicester, who well, struggling a little bit coming into this quarter, are up 20 now. Here's Malcolm for 3. Comes all the way back to him. Bunyan. Long rebound out to Brandon. Backing down strongly for 2.
First chance, second chance, third chance. Opportunities here for the Rocks now, and Isa Brandon says, no more threes. I'm going to do this the old-fashioned way, and backs down his defender and puts it in.
No more threes. They shot 30 of them.
Crandall out to Anderson. Leicester will take another one. Good rebound from Heron. And he turns it into more points.
Wow. Athleticism there from Mustafa Heron coming across from the other side of the court.
26 points for him. 7 rebounds as well. Here's Brandon. They've fallen in love with the 3-point shot here, the Rocks. He'll take a triple, and he'll string it. Connor Washington knocks down the 3, and a timeout is called by Gareth Murray. 3:17 to go, and Leicester, well, over the hill and far away now, 86-63.
Complete contrast to that third quarter performance from the Riders. It was both ends of the floor as well. So much more, I don't know, confident and fluent in their execution.
Well, Leicester had 27 points in the middle 2 quarters. They've got 25 in this fourth quarter and had 34 in the first quarter. So it's I guess it's how you start and finish, isn't it? That's the important thing, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's a good point.
The frowns have gone and everybody's now into it, talking about plays and what we can do. It's all good stuff. I mean, they were always going to come through with just about breaking the dam. And I think for the Rocks, it's a case of, you know, yesterday now it's caught up with them. You know, 31 3-point attempts.
You have to
They
give
shade high for them.
the Glasgow Rocks an immense amount of credit. I mean, not just for this game, but I've seen them, you know, since the import player's departure, I've seen them battle out with arguably, you know, more stacked rosters and better teams, and somehow, some way, bringing it to a one-shot game, or, you know, it's remarkable. And I think if I'm a Glasgow Rocks fan, I think that's the most change you've seen. You've seen a Glasgow Rocks team last season that were competing for the league championships, and this year you've seen this. But I think one thing is quite prevalent. You'd have to be proud of the way that these guys have responded, and they continue to compete.
Yeah, I mean, they are gonna finish bottom of the league, but they've been pretty competitive through. We saw them, obviously they beat Plymouth early on, short-handed. They probably should have beaten Newcastle last week, again with no American players. They've had a good fight in them all season long, and you know, you've seen what Gareth is trying to do with this team, and you know, they will hope to build on this and take that into next year.
Well, I mean, don't forget, you can take 3 or 4 Americans and put them onto this team.
Yeah.
You know, you could take, you know, William Lee, Darren, Nelson Henry, and Crandall, and put it with this group. They're just as good as anybody else because they've played so hard all season long.
Well, Leicester really finishing with a flourish here. They've got 30 points in this period, so more in the fourth than they got in the second and third combined.
This is a very misleading 30-point game right now as well. If you didn't watch this game and you just looked on the stat sheet, you think, okay, Rocks got beaten by 30 points. This is not really been the way of the script, in my opinion.
No, and that's what Gareth Murray's been working with these guys on, you know, about keeping their heads up, continuing to play irrespective, and that's real credit to Coach Murray on that.
Oh, nice hands from Brandon to steal that away. Trying to finish it at the other end, and he gets all the way. Yeah, this is one of those games for the old guys like you and me, Vince, that you'd see the result on CFAX and you would go, oh, they blew them out there. But actually, being in the building, it was a little bit of a different story.
You see it on CFAX, and there's no social media to follow it up on, you know, just like, oh, yeah, that's that.
Is that teletext? Is that what you...
It was,
yeah, that's teletext.
It was a different channel's version. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. The joys of the love of the game.
Well, that was how you got the results, so it was. Then they used to do quarter scores at one stage as well. Here's Perry into the game for the first time. Get that shot up, young man. And he falls short of his first points. That's the thing. You get a few seconds out there, a minute or so. As a young lad coming up through the development system, you get them shots up as quick as you can.
Yeah, and it's hard. It's tough to do too because you've got your adrenaline from head to toe. You're literally just running around everywhere. It is very, very, a difficult environment to be in.
Well, he's loitered over to the other corner. Here's Headley. Gets into the lane. And we're into the final minute.
Brandon just losing this ball every now and again.
I'm not sure what that buzzer was.
No, I haven't heard that before.
The shot clock, and Headley profits. He doesn't care. He runs down the other end and gets himself some points on the board. Only his second basket of the season. As Brandon's in, misses the finger roll. And that will do it. Leicester will dribble this one out. Well, it ends very comfortable for them. The middle, less so for Leicester. But they had to win 2 games. They've won 1. They are 1 game away from the title.
And that's something they've got to feel very, very positive about. I mean, you know, you spoke to coach before the game and said, you know, look, if you could say, give you the deal at the beginning of the year, you've got 2 opportunities here to win the championship by your own destiny. Would you take it? Of course he would. And part 1 of that destiny is done right now, and they'll look at part 2 now on their away trip to Cheshire.
Well, the coach is having a long conversation at the end of the game, and while Gareth Murray will be pleased how his team did for well, probably the middle 2 quarters. I was about to say 3 quarters, but actually they were played off the court in the first quarter, but a great recovery in the second for them.
Absolutely. For 2 quarters there, they really stuck in there. They scored in a variety of ways. They really frustrated the home team. I think in the end he caught up with them, but it just shows that there's some future for all of these guys wherever they end up playing.
Well, they've got one more game to go for the Rocks season, and Leicester have one more game in the league campaign, but will it lead to a title? That is the question they want to know. And, well, the numbers don't really tell the story of the game. It's one of those weird things where it looks so comfortable down the left-hand side, but it was anything but really here in this ball game.
I think the positive sign there for the Riders is they know when they have to turn it on, they can do that. The injection of energy and the input that they had in the game at the start of that fourth quarter was insane, and really put a grip on that game. And, it was players as well that rallied the surge for them. Ali Frazier was excellent in that fourth quarter, and then that's contagious. Everyone else starts hitting shots, but
performance, 21 points, 76% shooting. It was all clicking for you tonight. Talk us through how you were seeing the court.
Yeah, it was good just to get in and get some touches early, and then got in rhythm early, so that was good. And teammates found me open and I finished plays. It was good.
Is that important for you as a player to hit that rhythm early on?
Yeah, I think it's always good for anyone to hit a few shots early and then they get in the rhythm.
It was a brilliant first quarter for the team, but the Rocks came back at you in the second quarter. What changed?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, everyone in this league can play, so if you have a couple of lapses on defence, they're going to hit open shots if you give them to them, so credit to them. They came out, knocked down shots and played good defence.
What did Coach say to you at half-time?
Just, that we were playing fine, but we needed to step up on defence, and that would get us out in transition, and then we'd win the game that way.
Each game at a time is a mantra that every player, every coach applies, but you're all aware of what's at stake right now. Are you able to keep that in check, the magnitude of tonight and, of course, Sunday, and concentrate on the immediate job in hand?
Yeah, I think that's from top to bottom throughout the team. Everyone's just focused on the game at hand rather than thinking ahead to anything else. But, we got our win tonight. Hopefully go on Sunday and get a win and finish off the league. It's
going to be a huge game on Sunday, isn't it?
Yep.
Good luck with it. Go well.
Thank you.
One more to go for our MVP and his Riders side, and his performance, Kieran, made you very happy to see him stepping up tonight.
Yeah, you know what? He's playing against his friends as well. Ali knows us so well. Johnny Bunyan, they grew up together, but he's just so efficient around the basket, and he's a little bit undersized. He's got such wide shoulders. He can make hook shots with both hands. He moves well for a big guy. So yeah, it's great to see him kind of getting some rhythm going into playoffs.
Critical plays at critical times tonight, Vince, which is exactly what Rob Paternostro needed when the game wasn't slipping away from them by any stretch, but the Rocks were scrapping their way back, and he stepped up.
Absolutely, he stepped up big time. I thought that he was the one that was always going to step up, because maybe the guys were just a little bit too small around the basket for Nelson Henry, whereas Ali was able to spin off him and roll and finish, and maybe finish a little further away from the basket as well.
We talked a bit about his rhythm, and he rightly said every player wants to get into rhythm early on, but you think it's particularly important for him, don't you?
Yeah, I always say that Ali's a complete stats guy. He could probably tell you his whole stats as the game goes on. He's got a mathematical brain, so seeing him getting some early touches, seeing the ball going down, it's really, really good for his confidence. And I know what he's capable of when he's scoring the ball. Vince knows very well, because I always said that we used to play against London, they tried to shut him down early and really try and throw off his rhythm.
Strange game, wasn't it? I mean, we saw complete control from Leicester in the first quarter, the Rocks scrapping back, Leicester closing it down in the end, but neither side will look back at this and think it was a vintage performance by any stretch.
Definitely not, but that's what I'm saying. I think from the Rocks to have success this season, they've had to make it messy. And I think that at the start of the game they were shooting the ball within rhythm, but they couldn't get any stops. When it kind of got messy in the third quarter, that kind of suited the Rocks' rhythm and tempo a little bit better. Thankfully, for the Riders' sake, they found a way to kind of get it going at the end.
They got it done in the end, and that will put a smile on the face of their head coach, Rob Paternostro. who joins us now. Coach, 1 down, 1 to go. The right result, obviously. How happy were you with the performance, though, tonight?
Yeah, listen, it wasn't perfect by any means. I thought we missed a lot of opportunities offensively. I thought we had a lot of opportunities in that third quarter. We didn't make them, but, defensively, I thought we really stepped up and did what we needed to do. Second half, defensively, third quarter, and then in the fourth, I thought we smothered them. Remember, they played last night, so we knew that as the game wore on, they're not playing with a lot of guys, that we could wear them down. We did that. Hey, at this stage of the season, the whole league's tired. You look around the league with the schedule the way it is, just playing so many games that everybody's a little beat up, a little tired, but I love the way the guys picked it up in the fourth quarter to get the W.
Showed a lot of fight. Ali Fraser leading by example there. He was our MVP this evening, Coach, and he seemed to be throughout the game when you needed to count on somebody to step up and make a play. He was your guy.
Yeah, I spoke to him yesterday. We had a talk yesterday, and I knew that this is going to be a good matchup for him. We talked, and I knew I was going to get a lot of touches today for him, and this season he's played very well against them. So today I had a lot of confidence in what he could do, and Ali's a gamer. He's ready to go. He's been a little up and down at times, but tonight was a big time performance from him when we needed it.
Gino driving things again as well. Double-digit assists once again. Was the way that he was tonight more comfortable than you've seen him in the previous few games coming back from injury?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I mean, obviously you could see that he's not the player he was before the injury. He's been really struggling there with that hand, but he's still effective. He still can make plays. So, yeah, I think that now we go into Sunday, we get another day's rest. And I know that the thing with Gino is one hand, no hands, whatever. He's going to compete all night. And, guys have a lot of confidence in him. He's our leader.
Yeah, he was driving things absolutely tonight. You mentioned the intensity of this season, and because the title race is going to the wire, you haven't been able to rest players in the way that maybe you thought you might have been able to 4 or 5 weeks ago. After this season in particular, how important do you think that's going to be for the forthcoming playoffs, if at all?
Not even thinking about the playoffs, to be honest with you, at the moment. But you're right. I think that when you look around the league, like I said, everybody's fatigued. Our guys, are the same. But I thought Mustafa Heron tonight was important for us. He's a guy that should be fresher than everybody. Hasn't played as many games. And I thought his fresh legs tonight were important. 26 points for him. But, yeah, now we got to go to Sunday and see what we can do. It's what it's all about. You get an opportunity again to play for the league title, and I know the guys will be pumped up for that.
It's on the line, Coach, on Sunday. What are you going to be saying to the players ahead of it?
Rest up. That's going to be important. Get your rest and enjoy it. I think these are the kind of games that we all love to play in. When you're a basketball player and you're sitting there in your backyard in 3, 2, 1, and you're dreaming about it, these are the games you want to be in.
Absolutely. Will go well on Sunday, Coach. Congratulations on tonight's performance.
Thank you.
1 down, 1 to go for the Leicester Riders then. We've talked about some of the key players, Gino Crandall stepping up once again. Other players, though, taking care of business. Mustafa Heron was a close call in terms of the MVP decision. He was impressive.
Well, you know what? If it never went down to the last 2 minutes, we had to make a decision quite early. It could have very easily been Mustafa Heron. He's shooting the ball better, which I think is the big thing for him. I think once his shot gets going, because he's so strong, like I said, he's so versatile, he's aggressive, he can create his own shots. So I think he's one of those players that for Leicester, who rely a lot on the team kind of offense, he's one that can kind of break away from that and kind of create, which gives him another opportunity and makes him more, like I would say, three-dimensional.
You talked about his passion, Coach, and coming in to the league and wanting to play, but being out of the game for a year, acclimatising to a new league, let alone a new team, that's a tall order.
It's a tall order, and he did that. And I think, he's just realizing now that, I want to play. I've spent so long sitting at home for whatever reasons. I just want every opportunity to play. And actually, they needed him. He was critical today because he came in there and threw that dunk down, and suddenly the energy changed in the building, and then he saw them over the line. That was really big because we just saw a replay there of him scoring one foot from the bucket. He hit threes before, driving in for a slam. Whatever it takes is what he said he was going to do.
All around, another player driving things, as was Corey Johnson. Talk about that intensity. Talk about lifting the team around him. He's absolutely that guy, isn't he?
Again, another glue guy. The great fit. Sometimes he goes unnoticed, and then all of a sudden it's like 3 threes, 4 threes in a row. So the ability that he has to stretch the floor makes every defence have to play honest, and that creates more space for the Leicester to go to work down low as well. So yeah, another great player, another great addition. And like I said, Rob does it every year. He just knows how to create those spaces.
Yeah, really important for them, I thought. Really important because, you know, not everybody played their perfect game, but some guys just needed to do whatever it took. And, you know, we talked about Henry with Johnson. I thought he hit the shot from outside when he got it. He scored underneath the bucket when he got it. This one here, the same spot where he won the game against the Worcester Wolves, that was a shot that you knew he was going to hit, and they needed him to do so.
Hear that word clutch applied to him quite a lot. Let's look at the Rocks perspective. Look at the game from the Rocks perspective and from Gareth Murray's perspective in particular. Again, disappointed the result in the end, but as Dan was saying, looking at the match stats, a lot of those numbers don't necessarily tell the full tale, do they?
Yeah, well, you know what, it's been a quite tough. I'm going to be honest. It's been a tough watch at times, you know, but at the same time, I'm so proud of the fight that they have, and like I said, they've got a lot of young players coming through who are getting opportunity which they maybe wouldn't have had in the past, and I think that. You know, I look at the positive from a development perspective. Giving young players an opportunity to play at this level and get some confidence is a great thing to see.
Well, let's find out now. Gareth Murray joins us. Gareth, commiserations on the defeat, but again, a performance through much of the game that you showed a lot of fight, which must please you.
Yeah, I thought the end of the score doesn't reflect the actual game. Leicester were in control the whole game, but I thought it was a closer game than the final result actually shows. The guys, once again, I said to them that keep fighting, keep together, stick together, play team basketball. The problem we have is there's too many ups and downs throughout the game. We go down by 20, we bring it back. We get control of the game again, and then they fourth quarter they had too much for us, and we stopped attacking the rim and had too many turnovers in the end for them to take control over the game and make it a comfortable win for them in the end of the day.
How did you find coaching on the sidelines tonight? Did you feel that it was beneficial, that the decision you've made not to take time on court for the rest of the season is the right one?
I think personally, yes, I think it's the right decision. I get to oversee the whole game. I get to make adjustments, make changes, and like I said, be able to really speak to the guys and coach the guys throughout the game rather than just be up breathing heavy in a timeout and trying to get the guys to respond. But I can oversee the game a lot better from the sidelines, obviously, and make adjustments. And I thought we made some good adjustments tonight to stay in the game. But overall, Leicester are top of the league. They've been the most consistent team all season, and there's a reason for that.
In a way, your season's come full circle because, of course, you started it without the American imports. You had a good start to the season in the Cup. You've been able to blood younger talent. You're able to do that again towards the end of the season. How important is that to the long-term future of the club?
It's important for us. You know, this league it changes every year. You don't know who's going to be around. You don't know if guys want to come back, if they want to move on somewhere else. So it's important just to, if you've got guys here, to coach them and try to improve them. If they're here with you next year, that's great. If they're not, they're moving on. You can see they've been developed and they can understand the style of basketball and how to play basketball the right way.
Quick line on Leicester, very close to the title now. How tough an opponent have they been for you this season?
Yeah, to be honest, it's probably the toughest team we played against. You know, London, they're so much talent, and they've been very difficult as well. But Leicester, for us, has been the hardest matchup, I think, overall. They're well balanced. They've got a lot of people in different positions. They can score in various ways, and their defence has probably been the best all year.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
It is a really tough call, isn't it? Going into next season, here's a player that is still, as we were saying at the top of the show, instrumental for this side, a key part of Team GB as well. He's benefiting from the last couple of weeks sitting on the sidelines. We just heard why he's benefiting, Kieran, but they're going to need him on the court next season, aren't they?
You know what, I said as a player, making that decision of when to walk away from playing is probably the hardest decision you'll make as a player, because you don't want to leave too early, you don't want to leave too late, you don't want to be this player that, you know, you're just like, people are pitying you on the court. So
did you know?
I knew, because mentally, physically I felt I could still go, mentally I felt drained. I just wasn't enjoying it the same way. I wasn't, and my fear was that I would actually start to hate the game because of it, you know. So I think that I personally made the right decision at the right time. From a Gareth perspective, he's still playing at a high level. He has an ambition to coach as well. So actually, is this his only opportunity to kind of get that kind of pathway as well? So there's a lot of decisions that's probably going through his mind.
We talked about it at the top, didn't we, Vince? It is a conundrum, particularly now as basketball progresses, the game moves on in 2021. A player coach is a tough act to pull off. Yeah. What should he do next season?
Well, I mean, obviously that's a decision for him. I mean, the good thing about that is it's not boxing, where if you carry on too long, you pay the price. You know, It's basketball, so we're okay. I think the key thing that the Rocks have to think about is if this is going to be beneficial for them, it's only going to be beneficial if these guys come back. The good thing from a Gareth Morris perspective is that any other kids out there or young players out there watching Gareth recognize that if I come here, I'm going to be given a fair shake and an equal opportunity, and that's a good thing too.
It's been a difficult season for the Rocks, but he will draw a lot of positives. Rocks organisation and fans will draw a lot of positives out of phases of the game that we saw tonight, if not complete performances, when quite clearly, as a coach, he's showing terrific ability.
Yeah, like I always said that Gareth was, he's a natural coach. He just gravitated to that. He's got such a high IQ. To achieve what he did with GB as well, it's not just because of his athleticism, his shot, but it's because of his mind. He's got such a great basketball brain. So I think he's going to bring so much knowledge to the young generation coming through as well. They'll learn a lot from him. Well,
let's try and get a little bit more insight into what the game looked like from his perspective. We mic'd up Gareth Murray. This is what it sounded like.
Good D! Good D! Good job, Mark! You got to get matched up. You see your man running, you got to get back. All right, offensively, keep moving the ball. Keep moving the ball. Hand up again. No defense, man. That's not defense. David, let's go. It's too easy. It's too easy. Now you got to play. Basket. That's a basket. You cut harder. They get open quicker because they're going faster. Right now, we're just going through the motions. Good job. Let's go. Hit Julius. Hit Julius. Hit Julius. Come on. Faster. I mean, what's David doing? He's got to stop the roll. Keep communicating. Keep talking. If it's late, switch. All right, we keep guys in front of us. Good, David. Finish, finish, finish. Good job. Mark, it's Mark, it's Mark. It's Mark straight away. It's Mark straight away. Good. Now combo, make him make that crazy shot. He makes that crazy shot, he makes it. I said box out. Oh my God, man, just box out. Press, hit press, hit press. Hit press, why? For what reason? Where are you going though? Where are you going?
There are players that will benefit, that have benefited from him taking a seat on the sidelines.
No, definitely. I look at looking at the positive of Gareth getting the opportunity to coach and trying to control his anger at the same time.
At the same time.
But a young player like a Fraser Malcolm, for example, he's had the chance to shine. He got off to quite a rough start of the season, but now he's getting some meaningful minutes, getting some good court time, and he's shooting within rhythm. This is a player that I know really, really well. It's crazy just to see on the court. You've got Johnny Bunyan, you've got Ali Fraser, Fraser Malcolm. We all came through the same programme. We all came through the Falkirk Fury. So seeing a young kid like him getting an opportunity to play with confidence and be in this league, it's so promising for the sport.
Yeah, confidence is the operative word. Looked like he completely belonged out there.
Well, the thing is, so he started off the season not getting much minutes. Then coach started starting him. Then he went into some games where he'd play 15, 18 minutes and take no shots. But now you look at him here and he's kind of carrying the team. I think that's really, really great progression.
Just driving. It's great to see. And again, testament to Gareth Murray and his coaching. All right, then. So not the right result for the Rocks, but a good performance. Absolutely the right result for the Leicester Riders, and ditto the Sheffield Sharks, who have been, up until the last 3 games, in a terrible run of form, but they've now run 3 in a row, heading into the playoffs with a bit of swagger. The Newcastle Eagles, well, maybe they are now taking the mantle as the most enigmatic team in the BBL right now, because after last week's win against Leicester, they go down to the Worcester Wolves in a big, big win for the Plymouth Raiders. And bad news for the Bristol Flyers, a heavy defeat there as far as their playoff ambitions are concerned. And of course, confirmation the Riders win tonight means they just need to win one more. And that game is on Sunday against Cheshire. If they do that, well, there's nothing that Vince and the Lions can do about it. But if they don't, well, the Lions have 3 games of their own to play, including against Glasgow and against Manchester. So it could still all be to play for. All 7 of the top 7 have locked in their playoff berth, so it's about the number 8, the 8th and final playoff seed. And the Flyers, the Giants and the Scorchers all locked in on 20 points from 28 games, 2 games to play, too close to call. So confirmation then in terms of the title race. The Phoenix for the Riders await them on Sunday. They win that, it's theirs. If they don't, well, then the man alongside me will have a fair amount to say about that. The Rocks, the Giants, and the Sharks stand in the Lions' way. As you said at the top, Vince, all you can do is go into each game and take care of it.
No, absolutely. I mean, I think Leicester have done a great job to put themselves in this position. As Coach Paternoster said, giving them the opportunity to win. I think having seen that Bristol result, now Manchester, who thought they were out of it, are right back in it. Jordan Whelan, you know, loves to play against his whole team. We're going to have fun for the rest of the way. But for us, we just want to win every game from now on. We don't want to lose another game, and that's just our goal right now.
I love how you're saying fun. There's no fun at the moment. He said it, the diplomatic fun. There's no fun right now. It's sweat. it's anxiety. Everything's in this game right now. But it's great testament to the season. I think it's just been so competitive. It's just been a thrill to be a part of.
Vince saying about fun. Rob Paternoster saying he's not thinking about the playoffs at all. I wasn't buying that for a second either, because the playoff action begins in May, and you can watch every single game from the BBL and the WBBL playoffs live on the Sky Sports YouTube channel. You will not want to miss May Madness.
Basketball there, fantastic, strong, controlled finish there.
Another three! Back to back.
And off.
Oh!
All right.
It's good.
Huge shot.
Oh! Cherobia throws it out. Jams it in. It's just flying in all over the place. To win it! He makes it!
Wow. All the action coming your way in May. We had Matt Newby on the show with us last week, and I asked him, is this the most wide-open playoffs that he can remember, certainly in the last couple of years? Do you think it is? Does it look like almost every team going into it could put an argument to win?
You know, it definitely is. More so because of the conditions we've all had to play in this year. You know, no home advantage. You know, what does that actually mean? Nobody knows anymore. The guys having to create their own energy. We had the example here with Heron. If he didn't create that energy, who knows what might have happened. Lots of things have made it so difficult and so different. So how the players react, you know, I love basketball because it's a players' game. Our league is a players' league, and I want our players to decide how fun the playoffs will be.
Talking about resting players with Coach Paternoster a bit earlier on in terms of the physical rest, but the mental focus that players have had throughout the course of this season is not to be underestimated, Kieran.
Unreal. No, we kind of alluded to it at half-time. I think that mentally there's so many different scenarios that that they couldn't control, and that's when your mind really starts to linger. So right now I think the battle comes down to who's ready to go home. Some people are tired. They just want to get home. Who actually wants to get home but being a champion? That's what the mindset's going to be. If you can get through this month, you know, with that kind of mindset, like, look, let's get the job done, then I can go home. I think that's how the winners are going to be decided.
You're not ready to go home yet, are you, Coach?
I'm not ready to go home, baby.
One final one from you, Kieran, in terms of dark horses going into the playoffs, because we like Plymouth, of course, the form they've been in, but as we said at the top, missing a couple of their key players going into it. Who do you like?
You know what? It's not even a dark horse. It's because Vince is right beside me right now. I'm going to say the London Lions. I think that when they are laser focused with the team that they have, they're unstoppable. You know, it's just kind of getting them to get switched on for 40 minutes for a whole, 40 minutes for how many games it may be. That's the key. That's the key.
That was the correct answer, wasn't it, Vince? The playoffs get underway in May. May Madness. Every single game you can watch live on the Sky Sports YouTube channel. We are back on Arena and Mix with the semi-finals, the first of which on Tuesday, May the 11th. The second leg of the semi-finals will be on Thursday, and the men's and women's playoff finals on the Sunday of that week. Coach, great to see you. Thanks for dropping by. Always a pleasure hanging with Kieran Achara as well. Congratulations to the Riders. 1 down, 1 to go. We'll see you in a few. Bye for now.